Welcome back to another episode of Beyond Rockets. In this episode, I sit down and talk with the Leadership Greater Huntsville, which is a 501c3, and this is 35 years old. And whose ultimate goal is to develop human capital based on their 10-month program to then go back into the community and make it better. First off, thank you for taking the time to sit down and talking with me. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. Well, thank you for having us. My name is Shannon Drake. I'm the president and CEO of Leadership Greater Huntsville. So I have the privilege of running this fantastic nonprofit in which has meant so much to individuals in our community. Just kind of a background on what I've done. I came out of 25 years of corporate America, government contracts and marketing, and decided I didn't want to be a badge number anymore. So I kind of delved into the nonprofit world. It wasn't until I went through the 10-month program 10 years ago that I learned exactly what Leadership Huntsville could do for our community and for myself. So it was a personal and a professional change for me. So right then and there, I decided that at some point I wanted to come work for leadership. And so 2.5 years ago, I was able to do that. But I'm going to let Caitlin kind of introduce herself before we dive in a little bit more.
Yeah, so my name is Caitlin Sides-Baker, and I'm the Alumni Focus and Spark Program Director at Leadership. I've been there actually now for almost 1 year, and I have absolutely loved it. I was a public relations major and came to Huntsville. I'm originally from Coleman, so pretty close. Yep. Came to Huntsville, and my first job in Huntsville was with Downtown Huntsville, Inc.
Okay.
So it was a great job that just automatically kind of submerged you in the community. I've also worked at the chamber, and I was a contract employee for Google Fiber. So I've had some jobs where it's really shown me all these different kind of cool sides of our community. And that's when this role opened up, I was like, this is so perfect. Because I found out quickly that I love jobs that are focused on our community, making it better, moving the needle. So I love Huntsville, and I sometimes call myself the Huntsville cheerleader.
So I know that Leadership Greater Huntsville kind of came out of the chamber. Can you tell me a little bit about it? It's like how it got started and kind of what was its goal when it first was founded 35 years ago?
Sure. Well, to kind of go back a little bit more so in history, this kind of started back in the 1960s.
Okay.
There was a leadership group that came out of Atlanta, Georgia, and they were on an international tour of museums. Unfortunately, 125 leaders that came out of the Atlanta metro area perished in the plane crash.
Wow.
So you can imagine that void that it left in that community. Mm-hmm. So the discussion started then, do we have those leaders that could step up and take control of those companies and take control of those communities? It kind of died down a little bit until the 80s. And in 1987 is when Leadership, actually called Leadership 2000, was created underneath the Huntsville-Madison County Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
It was one class, and that ran for until 2007.
Wow.
Actually. At that point, they decided they wanted to do more in our community. They saw the need. Huntsville was growing. So they formed the 501c3 at that time called Huntsville-Madison County Leadership, and started with one of the main programs, which is still going strong today, 35 years later, Flagship.
Okay. So
it started with that. Then 24 years ago, we added a young emerging leadership, which is called Connect. So ages of 29 to 39 kind of time frame. So those who are on the trajectory of moving into those positions in case something drastic should ever happen.
Okay.
And then we started something called the mini MBA program called Management Academy. It's actually in its 12th year right now.
Wow.
That's more on the operational side. So, with our first two programs, you're all over this community, figuring out what's going on, what the needs are. Management Academy teaches you what's going on in your business. Okay. So you're learning from CEOs and top executives at that time. That's 12 years old. And then Focus, which is a 2-day program, which Caitlin handles, is the 10-month program, and we cram it into 1 hour for 2 days. So it's like crazy. Drinking from a fire hose. But it's a good way to kind of try before you buy, because that 10-month program is kind of a time commitment.
For sure.
But 2 days, and Caitlin does a fantastic job of programming those days, still giving you the experience, but just a lesser time. And then she also created Spark, which is the college program.
Okay.
We got some great individuals that are going to school around here, and we want to keep them here from a workforce development standpoint. So she'll talk a little bit more about that. And then we're also bringing back our youth program called Challenge this summer, which targets high schools.
Wow. So there's so many different programs depending on whatever stage of life you're in, really.
Exactly.
And I think with being able to do that, like you said, you're able to you get someone in high school or in college starting it, and then they get to go through their career, and they get to also do it later on and kind of learn from the CEOs and learn from all this, but they're able to kind of experience it for pretty much their entire life if they really wanted to.
They do. And, when you're in college, you kind of live, all of us, not even if you're in college, you live in your own bubble. So you don't know what's outside.
Yeah.
So Caitlin does a great job of introducing them to our community. And the testimonials we heard after the inaugural, Spark program was very powerful.
So these programs, so is it primarily for these programs to do like businesses reach out to you to have their team members go to it, or how does someone get involved and kind of be a part of these different classes and different, either the 2-day or the 10-month, or how do people get involved with that?
So we are recruiting 365 days out of the year.
Wow.
We are in recruitment mode right now. It's both.
Okay.
Yeah, and Caitlin can talk against the Spark program, but we are in contact with our big DoD customers and our nonprofits, and we are in the community constantly talking to people. I was just there this morning talking with somebody because we are in recruitment, because it means so much. We have over 4,000 alumni.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I would say 90% of our elected officials have gone through our classes.
Wow.
The mayors.
And do most of them that go through these classes then end up, they're all obviously then staying here in Huntsville and kind of pouring back into the community. And that's the thing is, like with what I get to do and get to talk with all these different people, most of them aren't from Huntsville.
Right.
And like I'm born and raised, lived here my entire life, and it's always fun getting to share like downtown was never like it's all these like stories, and it's like there's people that aren't. There's also people here that have been here forever that just like, sometimes they just don't know, and being able to, like you said, pour into the community and then give back is a huge thing for people that like the 4,000. That's just crazy to me.
Well, and I'm sorry, I'm taking over.
Doing great.
As a native, and I'm a lot older than you are, but in the 70s, downtown Huntsville was, it was not a place you went at night. And now to see it evolve to where it is today,
it's
and
crazy.
Thanks to Chad Emerson and you worked with him. Some of them stay, some of them do to work, but we're the minority being natives in Huntsville. Yeah. We really are. But it's so exciting to see individuals coming from outside of Huntsville because they bring new ideas. Yeah. And so it's going through our classes, and we do small group projects in the Connect and the flagship program, where we identify areas in the community where we can give back. And bringing the ideas out from outside of Huntsville really is eye-opening.
Yeah. And it's a great thing to see, like you said, these, like even the people that have been here forever, like going to different parts of Huntsville now that are growing and becoming these great areas to be. Like we're recording right now at Lincoln Mill on Meridian Street, and now what they're doing with the mill here and all the restaurants that are coming, people are coming down to Meridian Street that have never been down here before.
Right.
And you're like, this is like a great spot. And they're like, wow, like I had no idea this is down here. I had no idea there's Holtz Leather or Preservation Company or Latois or Mad Malts or wherever it might be. They're like, I had no idea. And it's just getting them out and getting them to see what's out there is huge.
And that's one thing we hear during our classes. Yep. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even as a native, and you're pretty much a native.
Pretty much.
For Coleman. To hear I had no idea is the common thing.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the Spark programs and kind of what those for the high school programs you have and the college programs, kind of getting them involved, and what do they get to experience at that age, and how does it kind of transition to the other classes?
Yeah, and that's one thing that's really great about each of our programs is that we have our young professional program, we have the Spark program, we have the flagship program, and all of the content is tailored and created to kind of really resonate with that age group, right, in that point in their career. So with Spark, I created that last year because, working with some different positions, I realized there's a gap here in us really reaching the local college students and showing them how great Huntsville is and why they should stay here.
Yeah, getting them to stay is a huge thing.
Exactly. It really is. And so that's when I was like, okay, we got to do something similar to Connect, right? But it's like a mini Connect. It's only 1 week long. It's 5 days. It's in August. So we kind of catch the college students after summer semester, but before fall semester begins. It's also free for them. Yeah. It is completely
Which
free.
Which is like college students love free. I just graduated in May from UAH. And so like free is like,
parents love free
for sure. Like exactly. It's like just like do something, like just get out of here, go. It's free, just enjoy it.
Yes, exactly. And like Shannon was talking about at their graduation, hearing so many of them talk about, I was actually thinking about leaving Huntsville, but now I'm staying. Yeah. And some of the content we cover public safety, health and wellness. We took them to the new amphitheater. We do a human services and DE&I day. So we're covering a lot of different topics in our community, and it was just really awesome and powerful to see the impact that made. And I really can't wait for our next class.
Yeah, and I think I think with college, I see a lot of people, like I saw a lot of people that were ready to leave when they got done with college. I saw even more of it from high school. I mean,
Right.
I mean, no one, everyone I talk to, they're always like, hey, yeah, I never thought I would live in Huntsville any longer. Like I thought as soon as I graduated high school, as soon as I graduated college, I would move away and never come back. Huntsville's just not a cool place. There's nothing to do here. You can't go downtown. Like there's nothing here. Why would I stay here? And now they come back and they've been here, 15 years, and they're like, wow, I couldn't imagine being anywhere else.
Right.
Because it still has that hometown vibe without necessarily with all these great things that are coming too. So you're able to really enjoy, like you can go to a neighborhood, like my parents live in South Huntsville, and like you can go to like their neighborhood, it's it's just like South Huntsville's always been. Mm-hmm. And then you can drive 5 minutes to Jones Valley or 10 minutes to downtown and be like, where am I? This is a whole nother place. And it's crazy, just the growth. And how have y'all seen with the growth of Huntsville over the last, the last 5 years has just been insane.
Yeah.
How have you seen that growth translate to people coming to these courses and the out of town people that are new to Huntsville and the people that have been here forever? How has that affected and helped grow Leadership Huntsville?
So, I mean, that's always a challenge. You have so many people moving in so fast.
Yes.
Yeah. We're trying to partner with the chamber and just try to be at events where we can meet these new individuals. It's just, again, being in our community and networking, that is key in this community. I always say it's not who you know, it's who knows you.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what it is. Even it frustrates me sometimes, even though we're 35 years old, I'm like, have you not heard of us? Why have you not heard of us?
Like, but I've been out here talking about it all the time.
I've been running social media ads.
I know. Caitlin does a fantastic job with that. But, go back to your statement about South Huntsville. South Huntsville Business Association is doing amazing work with with the Publix and the Hayes Farm and everything that's going down there. I grew up in Hazeland.
Okay.
So I'm familiar with that whole neighborhood. I went to Chaffee Elementary and went to Whitesburg and started out at Grissom. So it's growing and it's very inspiring to see. But as far as making sure people know who we are, it's just boots on the ground.
Yeah. And like you said, you're having to market your thing 365 days out of the year. Every single day you're doing stuff. But do your courses kind of, like you talked about like how some of your courses are in August and some of them are this. Do you have courses that are happening all throughout the year, or do your courses kind of stick within a time frame, or how does that kind of look?
I would say think of it kind of like a school year, right?
Okay.
So a lot of our programs, so Flagship and then Connect and Management Academy, all start in August and run through May.
Okay.
And as far as time commitment for each of those, they kind of have a kickoff that's normally 2 or 3 days in August. And then each month after that, it's only 1 day a month. So yes, it's a time commitment, but 1 day a month, you can do that. Yeah. And then in May, they close out the program with a closing retreat.
Okay.
So they do some really great things there. And that's where Focus, our 2-day program, we host that in November for 2 days. And then we also have a spring class that we host in April for 2 days.
Okay.
And then Spark is also in August. So August is obviously a pretty big month for us.
Yes, you're just planning for August. For August.
Exactly. And then Spark is 1 week in August.
Okay. And I know that you're kind of the signups for a lot of these courses are kind of happening in or actually could be closing in 1st of March. Can you tell me a little bit about how someone that's listening that's wanting to be a part of it and kind of learn more about these classes, maybe even sign up, where they can go to find more information?
Yeah, so head over to our website, leadershiphsv.org. Each of the programs is listed there under our programs tab. The application link is there. All of our application deadlines for Flagship, Connect, and Management Academy are March 1st.
Okay.
But with the college students, they have until April 1st for Spark. That's not a joke.
and Focus is actually ending February the 18th for the 2-day program.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. I mean, like, and I just like I think I've a few people that I know have gone through it. And I mean, I've followed in sort of like you start like people not knowing that you're here and stuff like that. I feel like I followed y'all for a long time. I think as soon as I started the podcast and you're going through social media, like who can I follow to kind of like get my name out there? I'm a nobody. Okay, just start following people. And then it's like, I start seeing your stuff and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Like, and then I see LinkedIn post and I see people sharing it that I'm friends with or I'm connected with on LinkedIn or whatever it might be. And it's just like, wow, like they're just doing, like the experiences you get to do is I think is the huge value adding.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, and that's part of the organic side of it. Yes, we are boots on the ground, but that organic side that Caitlin takes care of really makes a difference because we're all connected somehow in this community. But the experiences alone, everybody and anybody we go talk to, your experience is going to be different than my experience. What it did for me is going to be different than what it did for Caitlin, just because of the different times in our lives and what we're doing. But everybody gets something out of it. And it is, if for somebody to come out there and say that was not worth my time or my money, you never hear that.
Yeah.
Never.
And like I said, you get to visit and see a lot of places in Huntsville that sometimes the average person doesn't get to see necessarily the behind the scenes of.
Well,
Right.
that's what, and I'll let you kind of speak to that, especially she's created some alumni programs that are behind the scenes
Oh, okay.
that, you wouldn't get to see unless you
Right.
were an alum.
Yeah.
So I'll let you kind of explain some of those that you're doing.
So that's one thing really with all of our programs, and even our alumni program too, is just the experience, the hands-on experience, the access, the perspective you might gain going through the program. It's so powerful. But with our alumni programs, I haven't really talked too much about that, but like Shannon mentioned at the beginning, we have 4,000 alumni.
Wow.
That's awesome, right? And so how we keep them engaged, after they go through the program, like how do I still continue to have like a pulse on what's happening in my community? And that's kind of where I step in.
Okay.
I host 2 to 4 different events per month. And it could be a reboot day, which is similar to our regular program days, but we focus on a topic. So we just did one last week focused on manufacturing here.
Okay.
I mean, our manufacturing industry is exploding right now, right? So we did a deep dive, had panel discussions, did tours, talked about workforce development, talked with employers. So it was a great day where we were educating, and that's also open to guests.
Okay.
So even if guests are like, I kind of want to apply, but let me go do this reboot day, that's a full day. It's a full leadership experience. It's open to alumni and community guests. And we had some community guests there, and they were like, wow, this is really awesome.
And I think that's like, as Huntsville's continuing to grow and we're having more people come in, being able to then continue to showcase things that are happening in Huntsville with people that have been in Huntsville forever. I mean, that's like, there's so much going on that it's hard to keep track.
Right.
And you're able to then dive in with your groups and your different courses that you have and be able to really see what's going on and kind of, okay, I see where I fit in with this community. And I think that's great for Huntsville, especially with more people coming here that aren't from Huntsville. It's like, I want to be a part of it. I want to help in some way. How do I get involved? And this is kind of like, hey, we're right here. This is exactly what you do. So besides, I mean, there's so much we could talk about. It's like what, but these courses and these experiences you get to go through, you said a lot of them are just people that are interested in being a part of them, but also some of the employers. So I'm guessing you work with these, like you said, the DODs and the people in the arsenal and stuff like that to kind of get their high executives to come in and do this stuff. And how has that been? Have you seen open arms from these people that are of what you're doing and being able to really help their employees?
Oh, yeah. We have, again, with so many people, take Dynetics, for example. They acquired, or Leidos acquired Dynetics. You got an influx of people coming in from out of the city. Dynetics gets it, and they fully support Leadership Greater Huntsville. Now they want to introduce Leidos employees to it. So, yes, we have great relationships with all the companies here in town, small and, large, and nonprofits, and even community volunteers that just want to get back involved.
Yeah.
So that is not necessarily a hard sell because once somebody within the organization has been through that can kind of share their experience too. So that's kind of like legit.
It's like, oh yeah, it's like I sign off. This is real. Please do this.
And in fact, now we got several companies that sends us lists of these are the individuals that we've that we've told sign up.
Yeah.
So we just kind of watch for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's really exciting. And I want to kind of go back to the alumni section too. If you're a dues paying alumni, you have access to that database of alumni. Wow. So to pick up the telephone, if you need advice or just to talk, to say, hey, I'm a leadership grad. I was 25. I'm an L25 grad. I just have this question. It's amazing how they just say, well, yeah, what you got?
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's just really, it's like a little community, like a family almost once you get through.
And like you said, like having that network of people that you've kind of had that same, even if you didn't go to this, you weren't going through it at the same time as somebody else, but you've had that same experience. And like I said, each person kind of gets something different from the experience, but the general experience and of what you're getting them is very similar.
Yeah.
So they're able to share their stories, share their insights, share their wisdom, and really kind of grow professionally too.
Well, and you had a great experience with Connect.
Oh, yeah. And that's one thing I kind of wanted to talk on is, sometimes you might have a leader who asks the question, well, what's the ROI on this? What's the return on investment? Why should we pay for you to go through this program? And the group of individuals, which I would love for you to talk about the kind of the selection process a little bit, but the group of individuals that we select for each of these programs, I mean, it's amazing. You possibly would have never crossed paths with them otherwise. The access and experiences you're getting in the community are unlike anything you would ever have the opportunity to do. So, for example, I remember when I went through Connect on Public Safety Day, I put on a firefighter suit, oxygen tank and all, had an axe, and was like chopping wood. And my father-in-law is actually a former firefighter, and it just completely opened my eyes. Something as just doing an activity like that. I think that was just 1 hour for one of the days, right? So like that was just one little thing. So there was just so many other experiences too. I loved the education day. I don't have kids yet, but learning more about our schools, especially as a young professional, it's important. And you know, the value in doing all of these programs and covering these different topics, you're going to have people, our logo's a flame, right? And we often say, feed the flame. Yeah, feed the flame. And you have these individuals who go through the program and they see something that literally ignites them. For example, even in my class, we had an individual run for school board, right? So you have these things that come out of there, great projects. We actually had a nonprofit also start out of my class, right? So you go through the program, you see all the great things happening in our community, and you also see some of our pain points, right? So then you are able to, if it ignites a flame in somebody, that then they, you know, make action and moves the needle. Yeah. I love that.
And so how does that selection process work to kind of be like, once they apply to like, I want to be a part of this group, how does that work on the next steps?
So it's pretty, it's pretty daunting. So we will get anywhere from 60 to 70 applications. For Connect Flagship, we only select 54. And it's real logical why. That's how many fits on a bus. Yeah. So, I mean, but Management Academy, we also have a selection process. Not as many. We have about 40 applicants. And Spark, being our first year, we don't know what we're going to get this next year. So we base it off, because we want the class to be diverse.
Yes.
That's very important from a conversation standpoint. But so we look at ethnicity. We look at industry. We don't want 20 DOD or 20 bankers or 20 lawyers in there. Yeah. We pretty much, as my board chair says, we look like Noah. We're taking two from each industry.
Yes.
And because we want those conversations, and sometimes they get heated. Those conversations get heated, and that's good. Yeah. Because we're really opening up the minds.
That spark.
We're igniting that spark. Yeah. So it's about a 4-hour process of going through each program and doing the selection process, and we keep staff out of it on purpose. Yeah. So my CFO and myself, and then some board members are the ones who did selection. And we really pay attention to those applications, because some of the questions within the applications are, what do you see as a need in our community? Right. Don't say roads, because we know we can't do anything about roads. But what are those needs? Where do you see, what have you done? What can you see that you could do? And we really pay attention to that.
Yeah. So. And I mean, I think that's like being able to, like you said, pick those two out of each kind of group. I mean, like that's one of the biggest reasons I started the podcast, because I wanted to learn from people that have different experiences than me, because it's really powerful to see how they approach business and how they approach their work and how that it can apply to someone else in a completely different industry.
Right.
I mean, because like I talk with Kayla over at Elitaire and the way she runs the business versus how someone at a coffee shop runs a business. They're selling very different products, they're doing very different services, but they approach it very similar. And you just continue to grow, like your ideas and your perspective just continues to be like, wow, like I've never tried this. Let me try this too in my own field or in my own this. And you get to like really learn. I mean, like it's a huge thing.
Well, and I think what makes our nonprofit a little bit different than some of the nonprofits, we work on something called ROWE, Results-Oriented Work Environment, which really works for our team. So basically, I don't keep up with PTO and sick leave. You get your job done. If you're done by 2:00, you can go to the gym, you can do whatever. That seems to work with this team because it gives them the flexibility to still feel like they're making an impact, but yet have the freedom to kind of come and go. Yeah. We do have an office. If you followed ROWE completely, we would not have a physical office. But because of the collaboration amongst and we just enjoy being around each other.
Yeah. We have a fun team.
Yeah, we have a fun team. You know, but Caitlin, she loves to travel. As long as you have your laptop and your phone.
Yep.
You're good. That's awesome.
Go.
And
I'm thriving.
I feel like that's like the huge thing now too. It's like with COVID and all that over the last couple of years. I mean, you don't really need, the physical space is great for collaboration, like you said, but being able to just do the job and be involved in the community at the same time. I mean, you're able to be at the coffee shop down the street, having coffee and working and enjoying it, and then pouring back into the community every single day.
We do, and I think that it inspires our team
it really
quite a bit.
Does.
So
Agree.
you mentioned a little bit earlier that how people can connect with you. Besides the website, what are other ways you can connect? And kind of if someone is listening that does want to apply to your classes before the cutoff, how can they do that? And kind of
Yeah. So like I said, our website's leadershiphsv.org. We also have all of our social media channels and pages, and that's just Leadership HSV is the handle for all of those. And then also, if you go to our website under our staff page, you're going to find our emails and our phone numbers. Please reach out to us. Like, I am more than happy to meet up with you, have a coffee call, have a Zoom call, whatever that may look like, and answer questions about our programs. I don't want anybody to feel shy about that because, I would say we're pretty friendly people.
We're very friendly. We're very friendly. And also, Caitlin has created these recruitment events. In fact, we have one tonight.
Okay.
And I think the next one is the
February 25th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So they just come and go, meet and greet, totally free to them, but just find out more and talk to our program directors about what each program delivers.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for telling me more about Leadership Greater Huntsville. I mean, like I said, I knew a little bit about it, but now I feel like I know everything about it, and I'm excited to kind of be involved in any way I can too.
Yeah. So you're going to go through a program,
I was going to say, I look forward to your application.
Yes, I know. I'll go back to my office right now. But
and we do offer scholarships.
Okay.
That is a big thing.
Yeah. Yes.
So at least, if you're a nonprofit, you automatically get a 50% discount.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, just kind of keep that in mind.
Yeah. So don't let the tuition or anything, deter you from applying.
Right.
Yeah. So anyone that's listening, I definitely strongly encourage you to go check out their website, social media platforms, like what they're doing in the community and what they're being able to pour in to the people that are working here. And then just kind of the vision of it is great. And so thank you so much again for sitting down and talking with me. And I look forward to kind of seeing where Leadership Huntsville will have its impact in the Greater Huntsville for years to come.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.